Imagine creating YouTube shorts just like this one right here without lifting a single finger. But here's the twist. You don't have to hire a team, and you don't have to do a single line of code. I'm going to show you how I use AI and N8N to completely automate this process. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First, we're going to generate the YouTube script. In order to do this, I'm using Claude. You can use whatever AI that you want, but I find that Claude makes better quality scripts. Next, we need to generate the videos. In order to do that, we're going to first generate 8 search terms. Then we're going to take those search terms and use Pexels API to find some pretty high quality videos that we can use in our shorts. Pexels has a really good API that's free, and their videos are pretty decent. Now that we have the videos, we need to find the music. I didn't find a good API to search for music, so instead what I did was I downloaded some songs off of Envato Elements and I uploaded those to a Google Drive folder. Then I created a node that would randomly select a song from that folder to use in the video. All that's left is to generate the voice. I used ElevenLabs to do this. They have a really nice API. It only costs $5 a month, and the voice quality is really good. Once we've collected all of that, we can take it and send it over to Creatomate. Creatomate has a wonderful video editing API that allows us to stitch together whatever we want. And to make it even better, it allows you to export several videos for free. Let's dive into the workflow. If you just want to skip the tutorial and download the workflow, I have that on my blog in the description down below. Alright, to start off, we're using an AI agent node. We're going to do a tools agent, we're going to define below the prompt, and we're going to require a specific output format. When you first drop this into an empty workflow, it will come with the when chat message received attached to it. Then we're going to choose our AI. I'm using Claude as mentioned earlier, but you can choose whatever one you want. In order to connect this, first we need an API key. So if you go over to anthropic.com/API, link in the description down below, click on Start Building, and then click on Get API Keys. Here you can generate an API key. Once you have that, paste that in here, click Connect, and you should be good to go. We're going to be using 3.5 Sonnet, the one that ends in 620. And for the output parser, we're going to be adding a structured output parser. Now for this, we're going to do a script that says string. So I'm going to copy this over, paste that in here. Then we're going to take a look at the prompt. What this prompt is saying is it's telling the AI to generate a YouTube short script between 90 and 98 words. I gave it a quick 3-step formula using psychology to generate the first 3 sentences of the short. And then I give it how I want it to sound, what tone I want it to use, and I give it a quick reminder that I don't want it to be over 98 words. Then I tell it what topic I want it to cover. And I'm using the chat input, which is right here. All you have to do is take that, drag and drop. Now I do have the prompt and any other code or prompts mentioned in this video in my blog post down below for easy copy and paste, so be sure to check that out. And once we run that node, we ask what is N8N, and it comes out with this pretty good script. Next, we have another AI agent node, but for this node, I'm using ChatGPT instead of Claude. Find that ChatGPT has better reasoning than Claude does. However, Claude is a much better copywriter than ChatGPT is. Again, this is a tools agent with the prompt being defined below. And here, the prompt, I'm telling it to generate 8 generic search terms for the video scripts that are broadly related to the subject. Now, I need them to be very broad because Pexels API doesn't have a lot of videos to choose from, and I find that sometimes it'll generate some search terms that are a little too specific and it won't come up with any video results. Now, if you hook this API up to another video service, maybe that won't happen to you, but since Pexels is a smaller platform, it does happen. With this one, I'm also requiring a specific output format using the structured output parser here. And I am saying that I want a key terms with a list of strings, and the strings are going to be the terms that the AI generates. Now, in order to hook up the OpenAI account, you can go ahead and click Edit here or create a new credential. We can go over to platform.openai.com/API keys, link in the description below. Create a new secret key, give it a name, copy that, paste that in here, click connect. You should be good to go. For this, we're using the GPT-4o Mini because it is pretty cheap and it gets some good results. Next thing we need to do is we need to further format the output from the AI in order to use the loop over items. Now, the reason why is because if I use a loop over items, it will count the terms as one item and try to process this as one thing. And we don't want that. We want it to process one of these at a time. So jumping into this JavaScript, this is the input from the last node. Here we make a placeholder array. Then we're going to loop over the items using for each item. This is an arrow function. It's okay if you guys don't know what this is. You can always just copy paste or use ChatGPT to generate this type of code for you. Here we're pushing all of the items from this list into the new list, which is empty right here. And we're making that list the output here. And you can see here we have one item, but here we have 8 items. And 8 items is exactly what we need. Now we can use the loop over item node. Now there's no real configuration to do here. Just plunk it down into the workflow and you're good to go. Here's where things start to get a little bit more complicated. Now we're going to add an HTTP node. I went ahead and named mine search videos, and we're going to do a get method to Pixels API. So I'm going to show you real quick how I got my API keys. So we're going to go over to pixels.com/API, link in the description below. We're going to sign up and then click here, get API key. No, I've already done this. And it's just that simple. Once you've got your API key, go back over here and we're going to paste it down here below under authorization. And I'll show you how to configure all this really quickly. First, we're going to use a search query, and the query is going to be one of the items in the loop over items, the term here. So you can just take this and drag it, drop it here. And orientation equals portrait because we're making vertical short videos, okay? And here's the link to the API right there. Now, authentication none, query parameters. We're going to only get one result per page. The reason why is because we're only getting one result per search term. We are going to send headers, and that's where you put authorization and your API key. And once you've got that, you're pretty much good to go. I'm going to show you a little bit easier way to configure this as well. What you can do is go to the Pixels API. You can find the API to search for videos and see the example request. Just hit copy. Go over here. You can import the curl, paste it in, and click import. And when you click import, it puts the URL and everything that you're looking for right here. You can put your query here. I put mine up here in the top because I did it manually, but you can always do it the easy way. Query will be the term, but since I did it the other way, I'm going to keep it the other way. So now that we've searched for the video, we need to get the video details, the link of the video, how big the video is, things like that. So let's add another HTTP node. I called mine get the video details. Then we're going to go over to the Pixels API. We're going to grab this example request, click copy, and we're going to click import curl. Show you real quick how I hook this up. It says /videos. I'm going to delete that. We're going to go from the ID from the previous one. Make sure you click expression first. Then we're just going to replace here our API key. And that's it. We are good to go. Make sure it's get method, but it's pretty much all configured from there. Now, this will give us this response right here. In this response, we have a lot of different video files to choose from. So I made a quick script that would automatically find the best video quality that is under 50 megabytes. Why? Because some of these videos can be several gigabytes, and it'll take so long to get everything connected and downloaded and working together that I don't think it's a huge deal if we lose a little bit of quality just getting a smaller size video file. So this grabs the input data from the previous node, This creates an empty array called biggest videos. This right here goes through each of the video files. It's looking for video files where the video size is less than 50 megabytes. And it will automatically grab the biggest one. And if it is less than 50 megabytes, it will add it to this list. Then it will compare the list to see if the previous one is bigger than the next one up until it's gone through the whole list, which means that if it encounters a bigger file that is still below 50 megabytes, it will just replace this right here, and then it will grab the biggest video and export the biggest video. Now I use ChatGPT to generate this. It works really well, so keep that in mind. And it comes out with the best video file here. Then what we do is we have a wait here, which is 1 second, and we do that so we don't hit any rate limits on pixels. Alright, next we need to format all the video links together. So we have 9 items right here, and I want to turn it back into just one item so we can use it better later. So what I did was I just combined all of the items like this, and then I returned it right here. And it gives us just one item with a list of videos. So we're good to go. Now this is another HTTP node that's going to get a music file from my Google Drive. Why didn't I use a Google Drive node? Well, because it doesn't allow me to list all of the files within one folder. So let's dive in here. We're using a get method to this URL, Google API's Drive v3 files. And we hooked up the credential to the Google Drive, predefined credential, Google Drive OAuth 2, and we select which one. I'm going to show you guys how to connect this really quick because it is a pain in the ass. Alright, to start out, let's go to console.cloud.google.com/welcome, link in the description below. Go ahead and look up Drive and click on Google Drive API and click on Enable. I've already done this, so it just says Manage. Then we're going to go to OAuth consent screen. And here it'll say create a new OAuth consent screen. I already did it. Give it a name, give it an email, upload a logo if you want. Give the authorized domain to your N8N. For most people that might be n8n.cloud. For me that is horizon.dev because that's where my N8N is hosted. Put the email that you're using in the Google account. Click Save and Continue. Click Add or Remove Scopes. Add all the scopes. I would click here, click 100, check here to select all, which I also need to do, and click Update. Then scroll down, click Save and Continue. There'll be another page here. Add a test user right here. Make sure it's the same email you're going to connect with the drive, and click Save and Continue. And then go ahead and confirm. Once that's done, go over to Credentials. Let's create credentials. Go OAuth Client ID, application type web, give it a name, and under Authorized Redirect URIs, we're going to go over to N8N and grab this URL right here. We're going to paste it in right there, click Create, and when you click Create, it will show these credentials right here. And you can take those, you can copy paste the client ID and the client secret here, and then you have to click Sign In with Google. You have to make sure you choose the right account and click Continue and click Continue, and you're good to go. Now that that's connected, we are going to check send query parameters using fields below, name queue, and the value needs to be the ID of the folder. So if we go to Google Drive, I want you to open the folder that you're currently working on, and in that folder you have this ID right here. So you want to grab this ID and paste it with quotes and say that in parents. This will search the entire folder for a file, and we're looking for fields, files, ID, name, and meme type. So that's what we're going to get right here. Page size 100, and we're good to go. And it'll give us this response right here. Now that we have all the music files from the Google Drive, we have to choose one. So I made a quick code node, this again was generated with ChatGPT, to grab the list of all the files from the previous node, make sure the list is not empty, randomly select a file, and then return only one, which is this one right here. Next, we need to generate the voice. For that, I'm using ElevenLabs API. So to get started, let's go ahead and check out their documentations. I've got the URL in the description down below. Go ahead and find the text-to-speech one and click play. Beautiful. Now here we can generate the API call that we want to do and then just copy paste it over to N8N. First we're going to need our API credentials, then we're going to have to choose a voice. So go ahead and sign up for ElevenLabs. Then when you're done, I want you to go to elevenlabs.io/app/settings/API-keys, link in the description below. Then create your own API key, go back to their docs and add it here. Once you have all that configured right here, you can copy this curl and you can import it directly into the HHTP node right here in the N8N. Once you have that imported, the only thing you need to change is right here where it says text. We just want to grab the short text from this AI node right here. We just grab that. And when you first drag it, it will say this, which won't work. So instead of item, we're going to put first with some curly brackets. And as you can see, it turns green. Then I want you to add some options here. And I want you to add response options, and you want the response format to be a file and put output in field data. That's really important. Now we need to take that file and temporarily upload it to Google Drive so that Creatomate can then download it from the link. So go ahead and connect a Google Drive node and use the same credentials that we created earlier. We're going to add a resource file with the operation of upload, and input data field name is data, which is the same as this one right here. You can call the file whatever you want. You can choose a folder and you're good to go. After that, we need to set the file permissions. There is no Google Drive node in order to do that. Basically, we need to make the link public so we can later download it without having to request access from your email. So add an HTTP node. This one's a little bit more complicated. We're going to call this endpoint drive v3 files file ID number / permissions. This ID number I grabbed from right here. I just dragged and dropped. So you're good to go. And again, we're using the same credentials that we did in the previous HTTP node, the Horizon Gmail drive. We're going to send a body, and we're going to go role, reader, comma, type, anyone. And this will make the link public so it can be downloadable. If you guys need some help with your automations, I'm building a free WhatsApp community for everybody interested in leveling up their automation game. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check the link down below. Now it's time to create the short, and this is where things got a little bit more complicated. I spent quite a lot of time working on this. The first thing we need to do before we configure anything on N8N is we need to make a template on Creatomate. So go ahead and sign up for Creatomate and go into templates, create a new one. I went under social media. I used a storytelling video as a template, which is good. Once you created that, I went ahead and took the compositions and I copied and pasted them multiple times to have 8 videos, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's why we select 8 videos from pixels. You have to make sure that each video has a different name and each composition has a different name, so make sure to rename them. You also need to make sure right here, if you click on it, that the element is dynamic. And if it's not, you can click on it. You can scroll down to here and check the dynamic box. Once that's done, you have to add the music, and I added one more track for the voice. I just duplicated the music track down below. On the music, you want to make sure you also have dynamic, and on the voice, you want to add dynamic as well. Then we add one final text layer up top. Now this is the most important thing. And under here, instead of checking dynamic, we want to check transcription, okay? I did my settings here for the subtitle to look pretty good. This is what I've got. You can copy this down. And under source, we're going to click voice. This means that it will transcribe this channel right here and make subtitles from this channel. Once that's done, you can click use template and click API integration, and it gives you this curl command. Now this curl command does not import directly into N8N, so we're going to have to edit it. So going over to N8N, let's now make an HTTP node right here, and we're going to call this API URL creatomate/v1/renders. No authentication. We're sending headers authorization here, bearer, and then your API key. So this is all the same as shown here. Authorization, bearer, API key. You also want to put content type, application JSON. You can copy paste this if you want. Right here, application JSON under the parameters. We want to send a body and we want it to be a JSON, right? Here's where things change a little bit. So we're going to want to copy this right here and we're going to paste it in here. But when we paste it, we need to now hook up everything that was created previously. So we have to go to Format Video Links, and we have to start grabbing, dragging, and dropping. This background 1 is the first video. Background 2 is the second video. Except for when you drag one, I'll show you this real quick. It's a quick check. Say background 1, we're dragging it. So we grab the first video from background 1. Right here it says item. We don't want it to say item. We want it to say first with some curly brackets, just like that. And then it'll work just fine. With the music, we want to put this drive link right here. drive.google.com/UC !ID equals. And then we're grabbing the ID, and the ID is from here, this Google Drive. We're grabbing this ID right here. And again, you want to use first instead of item. For the music, we're doing the same. We're grabbing it from Choose Music, this one right here. We're grabbing this ID from here. It's the same URL. The only thing that's changing is the ID of the file, which is right here. So we drag and drop that. And these are all just the videos. This template ID right here is the ID to the template right here that we're working on. And if you click Use Template, the template ID is right here. So you can copy paste that in. Once you have all that saved, you're good to go, and this will generate a short for you. But I want to check to see when the short is done, and then maybe later push it to a different workflow. So here's how we do that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add a wait. I put 10 seconds. The reason why is because it takes more than 10 seconds to generate the video. Then we're going to check the video status. This is another HTTP node. On this one, we're calling creativemate.com v1 renders, and then just the ID of the video. And we get the ID from the previous node. So if you can see here, this one gives us an ID number right here. So all we're doing is we're grabbing this ID number, just drag and drop that to the end of this URL. And of course, we're sending headers exactly the same as the last HTTP node with authorization, bearer, and your API key. Then right here, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the status right here, and we're going to look for succeeded. What this will do is it'll check to see if the video is done. If it's not done, it will give the status here of rendering like this, and it'll continue going in a loop forever until the status is true. Once the status is succeeded, it'll go over here, and what we're doing right here is we're deleting the Google Drive file that we temporarily made for the AI generated voice. The reason why we're doing that is because we're going to be saving multiple files with the same name, and we don't want N8N to get confused about which file we're trying to use for the voice. So all we do here is we go back to the Google Drive node after we generate the voice, grab this ID, drag and drop. Make sure here we put first, again, really important, and you're good to go. And then you're done. This node here is just a placeholder, but you could send it to another workflow to get scheduled across Twitter and all your other social medias and do some really amazing things. I hope that this video helped you guys out. If you want to level up your automation game, I am building a free WhatsApp community for anybody interested in automation. So if you're interested, please check the link down below, and I'll see you guys next time.